Even thinking, oh, stress is bad for me, we got to get rid of it, actually increases your mortality rate by 43%, which
How
is
much?
43%. 92% of people that we polled will try and do in this moment is the advice that they've been given, which is to calm down, which is horrible advice. It's horrible advice. Like, you can't tell your adrenal glands not to release adrenaline. And if we say, this stress is just energy that is enhancing me and allowing me to think more clearly, they're simply going to say out loud, I'm excited. This is my body helping me to perform.
Welcome to Building Your Sales Engine. I'm your host, Mark McGraw. Hey everybody, welcome back to Building Your Sales Engine. I am your host, Mark McGraw. I am super excited for today's episode. I have Dr. Rebecca Heiss on the show together today, and we are going to talk about managing stress. What's the non-productive and productive uses, really practical tools she's going to lay out for you in this episode. She does have a book coming out. You can pre-order it, and it may be out by the time this episode is out. The book, again, is called Springboard. Highly recommend, based on the conversation that we've had with Rebecca. And please note that if you pre-order the book, she is going to donate 100% of the proceeds to charity, which I think is a phenomenal thing. And it just goes to the spirit and the motive. And she'll break that down in terms of how that can help you as well in managing stress. Just goes to the spirit and the motive of Dr. Rebecca Heiss. So let's dive in and get your notepad out, prepare to learn a lot. Everybody, welcome back to Building Your Sales Engine. I have Dr. Rebecca Heiss with us today. I am amazingly excited about having this conversation with you. Welcome to our show, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having me on, Mark. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. We have a good mutual friend, Emily Jeppes, as well, and she introduced us together. You are a specialist in the world of stress.
Yeah, I am. It's so funny. Most people say, oh, you're a stress physiologist. You must have figured this out and have no stress in your life. I'm like, hilarious. Exact opposite. I had to figure it out because I have so much stress.
Does anybody not have stress?
No. And that's the whole thing, right? Like we're constantly trying to get rid of it. And I think that's the wrong fight. Because when we fight against stress, we actually get more stressed out trying to get rid of our stress. So it's this nasty feedback cycle. Whereas if we invite the stress in and we allow it to be enhancing, our body uses it differently and we can use it to rise to meet new challenges.
Is that one of the biggest things you found in your research up to this point? And I can't wait to learn more about that on this side. I'm an absolute sponge when it comes to this topic.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. It's really exciting stuff. Yeah, one of the biggest things we found is stress mindset. Just the belief of what stress means can change massive performance indicators, health indicators, longevity indicators. So even thinking, oh, stress is bad for me, we got to get rid of it, actually increases your mortality rate by 43%. Which
How much?
43%. Yeah.
So the stress has almost a self-fulfilling feedback loop to it, where exactly. It creates more stress and more trauma for us in a roundabout way.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, it's not the stress itself. So the research that we looked at, very high levels of stress, like people that are listening right now, you're out there selling very high levels of stress. Those people who believe that they had that stress was bad for them had that 43% increase in mortality rate. But the same high level of stress, if they believed that stress wasn't bad for them, had the lowest mortality rates of the entire study, lower than people who had very little stress in their life. So that's really telling. It's not the stress that's killing us. It's not the stress that's bad for us. It's how we think about it.
Man, okay, so we really have to figure out some tools to be able to navigate that for sure. Because it always seems to me like, and I feel like I'm about to go to therapy here in a good way, but I always feel like that there could be a level of stress that's productive and another level that's not productive. Because I deal with it all the time too, and at what point do you find that bridge? I'm sure you've looked at that.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is kind of the traditional way we've thought about stress. And it's sort of an upside down U, a normal curve. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson curve. Nobody cares. But basically, it requires some stress to perform. You think about that upcoming deadline and it's like, it's months away. And so you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it. And then it gets closer and you start to perform because you have to now. The stress is there. And then if it gets too close, you plummet. Right. And you don't do well because it's too stressful. And that's the traditional way of thinking about stress is there's eustress, there's good stress, that performance stress, and there's distress, which is it's too much, I can't handle it. And my research is all about saying, well, does there have to be good stress and bad stress? Can it just be energy? Because all stress is a challenge to the body. And our body responds the same to good stress and bad stress. It produces the same hormones, produces the same response. It's why, the top performers like Olympic athletes are breaking world records at the Olympics at the point where the stress and the pressure is the highest. They're not breaking it at practice because they flipped this switch saying, oh, there is no such thing as too much stress. It's about how I use that energy. So yeah, I understand that idea of like, oh, this is too much, this is too little, this is good, this is bad. Let's throw out those labels and let's just say stress is energy to be used.
And so if someone's going, let's say a salesperson or a sales leader's going into a presentation, there's a certain amount of anxiety and stress that they have when they're going into that. And so they got to find a way to reframe the belief then of that particular moment to get a different outcome.
Huge, Mark. Yes. And what 92% of people that we polled will try and do in this moment is the advice that they've been given, which is to calm down, right? Just take some deep breaths, try and calm down, which is horrible advice. It's horrible advice. Like, think about the last time you called a good friend and you were really stressed out. You told them all the things that were stressing you out. If they looked at you and they're like, oh, calm down. I mean, you'd want to knock them into next Tuesday, and physiologically, you can't just calm down. You can't tell your adrenal glands not to release adrenaline. So what ends up happening is we start to spiral because we're trying to calm down and our body isn't responding because you can't influence that axis. Once you're heightened, you're heightened. What you can do is you can decide, is this an adventure or is this an ordeal? In other words, is this stress good? Is this bad? And if we say, this stress is just energy that is enhancing me and allowing me to think more clearly because it's pumping my blood to my brain faster so I can close this sale in a more witty, wonderful way, then our brain actually does that. And so there's a lot of tricks that I can offer your listeners of how to get into this mindset. But so much of it begins with just the thinking, the switching that flip to say, this also could mean that I'm excited.
Okay, so, I mean, hypothetically, let's say I had a friend and the friend did public speaking from time to time, but not all the time. And the friend was going to get up on stage and they're about to go present in front of maybe 950 people. And they've thought about it, I don't know, 1,200 times over the last 200 days. I'm asking for a friend.
Of course.
I mean,
hypothetically.
Not that I've ever been here before.
Yeah.
What would someone like that want to say and do to themselves to reframe this energy? And by the way, I love the idea of stress as energy because it does have this connotation that you feel stress is automatically negative.
Right. And it's not. It is your body actually rising to meet the occasion. So let's walk through this.
Okay.
If you're backstage,
for my friend.
Yeah, for your friend. Your friend is back there and you're starting to freak out and you're feeling all the symptoms of stress. And the first thing you're going to think is, this is bad, I've got to calm down. Nope. Instead, we're going to say, excellent, I'm excited about this. This presentation has meaning to me because nobody gets stressed out over their shoe coming untied, right? This is meaningful and purposeful. And I'll return to that later because there's a really interesting science on what makes for a meaningful, purposeful life. And the story there has to do with stress. Okay. So here we are. Okay, this is meaningful. And we're going to tell ourselves we're excited. Now listen, that friend of yours, they're not going to believe that they're excited. They're still going to have this anxiety, this pressure, this stress. But they're simply going to say out loud, I'm excited. This is my body helping me to perform. And here's what that does. Just telling yourself that forces You're going to force a smile. You're going to throw your shoulders back. And now your brain is looking to your body for feedback called somatic feedback. So we have all these hormones, all these things happening in our body, and our brain goes, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And we're telling it means that I'm excited. And our body is supporting that because we've put a smile on, our shoulders are back, and then the hormones begin to shift. See, we think we smile because we're happy, but in fact, we are happy because we smile. So we're starting to give the signals to our brain that we're excited about this. Then you're going to say, is this about me? I'm going to start getting curious. How do I serve my audience? Does it matter if I bomb? Or does it matter if I serve this audience to the best of my ability today? And what that does is it takes us out of that ego-based fear, this limbic system, this emotional system, and it puts us into a state where we're serving others. And that activates the second most popular hormone in the stress response, which is oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, the one that helps us to serve and be served under stress. So now you walk out on stage, you're there to serve others, you're confident in your body posture, all of your hormones begin to work for you. And this is the other magical piece. Because those hormones are working for you, because you are presenting as if you're excited, your audience is going to respond to you as if you're excited, because humans are emotionally contagious. And so they see that you're powerful, you're excited, and they feed that back to you as, oh man, this potential person, not you, this potential person is excited about this. And they get excited and they start to lean in, and that feeds you. And you're like, wow, I am excited. All of these cascading things happen because you start with telling yourself, lying to yourself that you're excited.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's funny, Rebecca, when you bring that up. The one thing that my friend, and okay, it's me. It's me. There we said it.
Got you. All right. I appreciate your bravery. Thanks for stepping forward.
The one thing that I've found that does help me in that situation, and I think you're making me conscious of something I haven't been necessarily conscious of, is I will think to myself, okay, my focus should be on them. How do I serve? How do I make a difference? And that does. Now, the other things that you brought up, I haven't always used. So I love the fact that there's some physiology in there. You know, there's the shoulders back piece of things. But really, I think you're helping me realize with that piece of advice is that idea of putting the focus on the group. What does it? It then kind of creates that self-fulfilling prophecy in a roundabout way. Is that that energy comes out somehow?
100% in two ways. One, you literally kick yourself out of the fear portion of your brain. So I like to say curiosity and fear cannot coexist. Mm-hmm. Curiosity and fear. So the reason for that is for 200,000 plus years while our brain was evolving, nobody ever had a tiger charging them and went, oh gosh, I wonder how fast it's coming, right? There's no room for curiosity in that state. So when you're willing to flip into this mode of curiosity, how can I serve this people? What is the smallest step that I can take today to get my message to these people? What gift can I offer? When you do that, you kick yourself out of that fear and that individual kind of fear, and you put yourself into a state of service. And that changes the entire physiology of the stress response, where oxytocin becomes more prominent. And then that other piece of the emotional contagion, I mean, humans catch feelings. So your audience sees that, recognizes that you're there to serve, and is cheering you on now. The important piece, and I really want to be clear about this, is that your anxiety and your fear will not go away. Full stop. You'll have excitement layered on top of that, but it's important that you know that fear and anxiety are still there. And that's a good thing because it just means that you care. It just means you care. So see that stress as a barometer for how much you care and what meaning and purpose this actually brings to people's lives, and allow that to be that signal rather than I'm going to screw up.
I'm almost picturing in my head, Rebecca, like a channel or a stream, and then there's a fork in that stream, and that the one half of that fork is going to go to something that's unproductive, and the other, would go to something that's productive. But the switch right there really is, and it's funny. A minute ago, you closed your eyes when you said, there to serve, and those of folks listening, they might not pick up on that. But you closed your eyes, and I could kind of see myself closing my eyes and putting myself in that moment, and channeling that energy through a different path. Is that somewhat of what it is?
I think that is the perfect analogy. And in fact, it's literally what's happening in your brain. Your brain is splitting from this stimulus of the tiger, that scary thing that's chasing you, or in this case, the 1,000 people that you're presenting to, that tiger. There's a then split path. One is I'm going to fight, I'm going to freeze, I'm going to flee from this. And the other is I'm going to use this energy and I'm going to point it along a trajectory that serves. And so you have these two options. And when you choose that adventure rather than that ordeal, when you choose to show up as if this is an adventure, your physiology actually shifts even at that point. So under a typical stress response where it's a tiger and it's something really life and death kind of thing, which is how our brain interprets every stressor, even if it's an inbox that's overflowing, that's life and death to our brain. What happens is our blood vessels constrict. They increase blood pressure so they can get all that blood like quickly. When you decide that this is an adventure, your blood vessels actually dilate. They open up and they allow all of that energy to be used. And that's really spectacular. You actually change the way your body is operating with a single conscious choice about what this means.
That's fabulous and fantastic. and I think we've all had that feeling before, but it's not always consistent in terms of how we produce that positive result. Mm-hmm. And what you're giving us is a framework. And I know you have a book coming out, a book Springboard. There's a term for that? There's a term for that. Is that a framework that you're using that you teach people how to go do that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's what I walk through in the book Springboard. Is I walk through what I call my fear-less stress formula, and all it is using stress without the fear behind it. Again, our brains are built to keep us safe, to keep us alive. And so every stressor, whether you're literally being shot at, which is a real life and death situation, or you're standing in front of 1,000 of your colleagues, or you have an overflowing inbox, there is a singular stress response to all of those things. And so the framework, the fearless framework, takes the fear out of the situations where you're not really being shot at, it's not really a life and death situation, and allows you to use that energy for productivity.
Are there more pieces to that framework that we should know about that would help us navigate? Because I mean, in sales, whatever the role is, I mean, it's a constant ball of stress.
Sure.
You know, it's into the quarter, into the year, into the week, into everything. Are there other things that you would throw out to that, Rebecca? And by the way, that's fantastic, even as it is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-step process, and I'll walk you through it really quickly. Okay. We kind of hit on each of those points in walking you through your example. But the first step I call inviting the tiger in for tea. So tiger representing the metaphor of the stressor, whatever that is. Stop trying to avoid it. Stop trying to get rid of it. Invite it in for a cup of tea. Right? Welcome it in, because you're not going to get rid of it. And the more we try and fight against stress, the more energy we're using and failing. And then it stresses us out even more trying to get rid of that stress. So invite it in, sit it down. That's the first step. And we can do that more easily when we inoculate ourselves against stress. So these discomfort challenges, which I'm sure you've heard of, you go out and you ask for a 20% discount, right? Or you bake your neighbor some cookies, which doesn't sound like it should be stressful, but when you go to present them to a stranger, it's a weird interaction and your body's like, what is happening? All you're doing is you're training your brain that every stressful situation doesn't mean life and death. And so when we do that, we can then start to choose a different channel, right? To use your analogy. Oh, okay, I don't have to go here. So the first step is it's not a tiger. This is not a life and death situation. The second step is the choosing of adventure, acting as if, putting our body into a place where this is an adventure, getting excited, telling ourselves that we're excited, getting curious to kick ourselves out of that ego-based, fear-based response and into how will this serve? So then I have all of my butterflies kind of in alignment. And the third step is trajectory. Where do I want to point all of this stress energy? And that is toward service. So there was this fascinating study that looked at 90 different workplace interventions to mitigate stress. Everything from meditation to breath work to one-on-one coaching, good night's sleep, 90 different interventions. None of them helped mitigate stress, with the exception of one, and it was community service. And so the more we can actually take all of that stress energy and recognize how and who and where we are pointing it to serve others, the more our stress actually improves. And I think that is a beautiful way to utilize our stress.
And so when that last piece of wherever your motivations are focused, you it sounds like you would always point that towards service and helping others.
Yeah,
That's where that energy should go, and that's where the highest and best return of that energy is. Is that fair to say?
absolutely. That is perfect to say. And it drives purpose and meaning. So I alluded to this earlier that I wanted to come back to, because so many of us try to avoid the stressful situations, the things that are like, coming up, and we run away from the tiger instead of running directly toward the roar. And the idea here is you're actually missing out on what brings you most meaning and purpose to your life. This was a 2013 study looking at meaning and purpose. And the number one correlate was past stressful events, current state of stress, and even future worry and anxiety. And when I force people to think about that, they're like, I don't know. I feel like I could live a pretty purposeful life without stress. And so I did a follow-up question on this because I thought this was a really interesting thing to explore. And I want to offer your audience this because I think it nails it. I want you to think about a project or an accomplishment that you're most proud of. Yeah? Now go back in time to when you're in the middle of that project. What was your stress level? On a scale of 0 to 100.
It was really high.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it was off the charts high.
I had to eliminate so many people like you from the data because they were like 2,482. I'm like, out of 100. But that's the whole point, is we are bringing our most meaning and purpose to our lives when we're in the stress. And so instead of only looking back on it retrospectively and going, yeah, that was important. In the moment, how can we channel that and go, oh, this is meaningful. Good. I'm going to use this stress.
It's kind of like if someone's in a storm, in the middle of the storm, it's a mess, right? And there's all that emotion and panic and all the things that go on. But really on the other side of that is clear air and everything else. And so you're saying that when you're in the storm, just recognize that you're in the storm and know that that's going to have a happy ending, and that's the fulfillment process. That's part of the process.
Yeah, although I won't guarantee a happy ending. Let me pull back a little bit from that.
Sure.
Happiness and purpose are two very different things. So one of the studies that I did not do, but I think is fascinating, is people who have children tend to be slightly less happy. Full stop.
Okay.
But they're so much more purposeful and have more meaningful lives. So happiness and meaning don't necessarily correlate the way we think. Stress and meaning correlate. And to your point, yeah, do you know the story of Bison?
No.
I think this is a fun one for your team. So bison do something really remarkable. I'm a biologist, so I like all these nerdy things. And bison, the number one thing that kills a bison, other than humans, is snowstorms. They get stuck in the snow. And so when they see a snowstorm coming, what should they do? Well, I immediately think, run away, right? Like, get out of there. Their instinct is to run directly into the storm. And the reason for that is when they run into it, they get through it faster with more resources and in better shape on the other side of it. And that's, I think, such a great analogy for what we need to be doing with our stress. Stress is going to catch you. It's going to find you. So why not turn into it and start running at that roar, running to that storm? So you get through it faster on the other side with more resources in better shape.
Yeah, and I mean, by the way, I'm having like light bulb moments over here, like
good.
Really, really good ones, and I know listeners will be too. And it really does come down to the view of how you're looking at this and how you're. And yes, it's the view, but it's also some of the physical things it seems like that you have to do as well, because you have to change your body as well as your mind to get this to another state. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, and taking action, which is so scary. It's so scary because we talk all the time about the costs of our actions, right? Oh, I might screw up. I might fail. I might not get that sale. I might not close it. I might look like a fool. those actions are scary and stress inducing. And what we don't talk about enough is the cost of inaction, of sitting in it, of not getting that data point that says, oh, that didn't work. Let's try this way. Let's go that way. And in fact, when we take an action, if we move bravely in any direction toward our stress, what that does is two things. It gives us agency. We recognize we do have this amount of control. We can do this one thing. And it gives us data. Regrets fester because we have no data. We always sit and wonder, what if? So again, taking agency in the moment of stress is huge.
It's funny you're bringing that up, because I was just about to see if you have seen correlations of procrastination with stress, because, again, my friend, right? It's me.
Yeah.
But, human is like everybody else, right? But if I prepare for a workshop that I'm doing for somebody, and I may have done this, I did 450 of those things last year. And yet I find myself sometimes still getting nervous before I'm in front of a group virtually that I've been in front of dozens and dozens of times. And sometimes, I will deal with some procrastination of getting ready for things and sort of that build up. So it sounds like there's a connection there on that side. And thankfully I've found ways to get around that. But how do you see that this ties into procrastination and that inaction piece of it?
You're trying to control the outcome. Yeah, this is brilliant. First of all, thank you for your vulnerability and saying, "Yep, that's me." And I'll say, the day that you don't feel nervous, stop doing it.
Okay.
Stop doing it, because it no longer is bringing meaning and purpose to your life, right? Like, if you're not nervous, it's your shoe came untied. Okay, it's a thing. That's fine. That is a great barometer for like noticing how much you care about something. The procrastination piece is exactly that. You're not feeling the stress enough. And so you're like, oh, it's fine. I'll just procrastinate. I'll take that inaction. Whereas if you leaned into that action, if you leaned into preparing a little bit, what you might find is, I'm already prepared. That's probably what's happening here, is you're overly prepared and your brain's going, I don't need to do this. I've got it already. But in the back of your head, you're going, what if I screw up? And it's the selfish piece. It's the self awareness piece of going, I could look like a fool. And instead say, wait, am I prepared to serve others in this moment? If so, let it go.
So come back to that service piece.
Come back to it.
And that gets us closer to taking action. And without a doubt, certainly I've found, and you're reinforcing it, that, action cures a lot of ills. And one thing I've found to help with procrastination is to say, I'm going to do 5 minutes of this. That's it. And once I'm in it,
that's it.
Things just start to flow. And before you know it, a lot of things. So that action that you're talking about there just is a tremendous tool when it comes to procrastination and putting things off.
I love that you said that, because the physiology of that is fascinating. That small step, committing to writing one sentence of the report that you have to write. One sentence. If you get in and you do one sentence, you've removed the friction, you're in there, and now it's like, I can write 2, 3. And what's happening biologically, this is called the winner's cycle. It's a fascinating physiology. If you commit to a really tiny, small goal and you do it, you get a huge burst of testosterone, females too, testosterone, reduction in cortisol, and a hit of dopamine. And dopamine is, it's a happy hormone, but it's also a hormone of addiction. It's a motivation hormone, which means I did the thing. Cool. I want more of that. So now we're going to do another small task forward. And when we do that, we start to stack, and our body craves more of this. And it gets us into this cycle of winning. Whereas the opposite is also true. There's a loser cycle, right? Where we have this giant goal. I'm just going to say, like, I want to close 5,000, new clients in the next 2 days. And we're just like, 5,000, it's not possible. And we just sit there like, it's too much. It's overwhelming. Why would I even start? Because if you closed a quarter of that, you're making progress in your brain. Your brain's going, well, I failed though. I didn't save save $1,000 next month in your savings account and you save $999. Did you fail? Yeah, objectively. Did you make progress? Of course. You're $1 shy. Okay. This is the brain's like black and white type of linear thinking. It's very good at setting us up and saying, well, either if you do this, you could fail. So what? Let go of the outcome. Take the path of progress.
And so part of that is having smaller goals, which is counterintuitive to what everybody, by the way, everything I think that you brought up so far is counterintuitive, but in such a positive way, because certainly what many of us are doing right now is not working so well. And so the counterintuitive solution here, in this case, have smaller goals that get you wins so that you start to feel better on that side. Yeah. And I'll toss this out, Rebecca. One of the things that I've found that helped me with procrastination, because it ties in, I think, is looking at it and saying, okay, I don't feel good now when I'm putting something off, but when I'm done, I will feel good. So by delaying the work, I'm actually delaying gratification towards feeling good. So when do I want to feel good? Now or later?
That's it. Choose your hard. Yep.
Yeah, choose your heart. But I think that ties to the biology that you're bringing up. I mean, I think it does. On the biology side of things as well, that we're moving that feeling of positive to the present, even though that inertia is in the way.
You nailed it. Yeah, I want my dopamine hit now. Let's get it now.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. There's so many good tools inside of there. You have so many. Any others pop to your mind that you want to throw out? Because
oh my gosh, yes, a million of them. I don't know where to begin.
We should. Everybody needs to go get the book.
Please do. Yes, please do. I tried to make the book very accessible. So one of the things that was really important to me. It's a short book. I'll grab it for you. It's a short book, and it's kind of fun. There's QR codes in it. It's meant to be read on an airplane in 2 hours.
Nice.
You can crank through it in 2 hours, and then you can immediately apply all of the things. So this is not, there's a lot of science in it, but it's not philosophical. It's like, here's the thing that you can do right now. Here's the action that you can take that's going to transform the next step. There's a ton of science, there's a ton of action in it. And I hope people can really lean into it. I feel like I'm a PR agent for stress, like this is a good thing. Yeah.
An excellent one as well.
Thank you so much. Well. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Really, you've given us so many great ideas. The book is Springboard. It's coming out in September. By the time the show is out, I'm sure it will be out. People can pre-order it now.
Yep,
is the case. Do tell us, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to either engage you? I know you do public speaking, and you do. And you're phenomenal at it, by the way.
Thank you.
So how can people get in touch with you and connect with you?
The easiest way is to go to my website, which is Heiss, HEISS.com. You can find my masterclass there. You can find my book there. You can find ways to hire me as a keynote speaker. You can also reach me on all the socials at Dr. Rebecca Heiss. That's probably the easiest way to reach me. Don't hesitate. I love to help people. And I offer this every time. And genuinely, I will respond to your messages. So give me some time, but I will respond personally. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. It's a gift to me to be able to serve you all.
That is awesome. I didn't know you had a masterclass.
Yeah, it's so fun. So it's the Fearless Masterclass. It's 52 video modules and a giant workbook to walk you through stress and fear and imposter syndrome and all the fun science. So,
imposter syndrome. We'll have to have you back and talk about imposter syndrome. For
sure.
That is a wonderful topic. So excellent.
Well, thank you. I'd love the opportunity to come back.
I can't thank you enough, really, for what you just. I have a page of notes here, which is one of the reasons why I love hosting the show. Is I get to meet great people like you and get such insightful ideas, and just the whole notion of looking at stress as an energy and how we look at it changes and frames the outcome. I think the 3-step process as well, absolutely fantastic, and you make a great. What would you call it? PR ambassador?
Yeah, I guess a PR agent for stress.
Agent for stress.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, you are absolutely fantastic at that, and you're doing a great job, and can't wait to read the book when it's out. So any final thoughts that you have for us?
My final wish for all of you listeners, is that you live tremendously stressful lives. And I genuinely mean that as a blessing, not as a curse, because I think with this stress mindset, you can parlay that into deeper meaning and connection and purpose to all the things that you do. So yeah, keep enjoying the stress out there.
It is, in fact, I think how I'm looking at this now after talking with you, it is a blessing. There is no curse.
That's right.
Because if we didn't have that, there would not be fulfillment, and we would not be serving. And that's why I'm here, and I can, that's why you're here too. How do we serve and make a difference in other people's lives, and what wonderful practical tools that you're sharing with folks. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time, Rebecca.
Well, what a gift to be here. Thank you so much, Mark. It's been truly a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.